Good morning. We make a very rapid transition from a rather spirited conversation, unlike any conventional inaugural, I'm sure that we are normally familiar with. So on that note, let me welcome the distinguished panelists. I'm not going to introduce them. I'm sure that you know almost each of them, except for the Dutch friends in the room. I'm quite confident about that. This is going to be a 60-minute rapid-fire conversation. It's not going to be where something of set speeches, and sometimes if any one of you feel that you need to disagree, feel free about that. We'd first go with a round of first cycle of conversation, and then we'll come back for a bit of cross-cutting. To set the tone, I think transitioning from the inaugural, where we heard very clearly from the ambassadors, from Sadr Rizwana Hassan, Ashik Chaudhary, it's very clear that we need to think of the future, not to harp on the past. I often say that future is fun, future is excitement, but also fraught with a lot of challenges, uncertainties, risks, most of all unknowns. So we were told that we had to reflect or prospect into 2040, 15 years from now. But I often think that even 5 years from now, prospecting gets difficult quite often. You would know much more than that. We heard a lot about rights. I think when the conversation began for last 1 decade, it's been about prices, rights, but increasingly about responsibility and shared responsibility. That would take us through some of the things, and where I think the Dutch ambassador said about how do we look at the problems as opportunities. So without further ado, I'll first turn to, if I may say, my neighbor, or Mr. Rakib first. I'd first turn to you because I think last decade has been such where initially we were taken to the road on sustainability, automation was coming in, there was a bit of nervousness, but now we clearly see that it's about something called intelligence age, that Davos has just less than 3 weeks back said it emphatically. And AI is going to rule the roost, as the Americans say. How, as one of the champions in the industry and a long-term someone working, how are you kind of looking at it from your individual company perspective as also from the industry session?
Thank you. I think some of us say that fourth industrial revolution, some of us say fifth industrial revolutions, and a lot of very ornamental words are going on in terms of AI and IoT and implementing partnership and raising the capacity, understanding the efficiency into supply chain, having the true data to decide better. AI definitely will help us, and I think a lot of small initiative has been taken into private initiative. I think this is for the industry perspective or the country perspective, we should collect all this and we should keep innovating, and we should invest heavily to understand how we can adapt. I just want to remind that the innovations or the changes in AI is very disruptive. So having that resilient attitude to adapt and keep adapting, increasing our skill set, increasing our
Is it simply going to be about attitude or behavior, or how, for example?
Absolutely.
There's also a cost part to that. How are you going to handle?
I can tell you that if we can show the map, if we can show that investing into this technology, learning this, training your mid-level, training your managers, how do you use this, definitely will bring some efficiency. And they will also optimize the cost. So they will pay back. And a lot of us feel that we might lose jobs, but not necessarily if you have the correct mindset to train those people and utilize into the segments.
So if I may say that without revealing your business secret, are you already looking up to that?
Yes.
Yeah. That's something very interesting for everyone present in the room to note, particularly the Dutch friends. You can reach out to him later.
No, no, of course we'll be, I'm sure that the people sitting down on the table, and we have our honorable speakers here. I have also a lot of things to learn, and I'm sure they're also doing much more better things than me. That's a resilience what we have, and I'm so proud of our second generation. I was just meeting one young fellow of our colleague who was like second generation, and he was telling me a lot of new stories. And I think we should give consistent time on research, and next 12 to 14 months or 12 to 24 months, the industry partners, the government should do a massive research to understand the correct data to decide for the Vision 2040.
Another quick question. I know that some in the industry are already looking at mining data, because each of your factories, small ones, big ones, you have enormous amount of data, and mining the data and turning those could be business models, which I'm sure that many are doing, even in the region, South Asia region. Do you think that that is something that you may like to wake up to?
Absolutely, and that's again a change in the mindset, because a lot of us believe that I don't want to share my data. A lot of us feel that this is my business secrecy. But to be very frank, if I don't share, if I don't compare, if I don't understand, I do not calibrate the information, I actually do not know where I stand in terms of benchmark. And this is, I think, very much time appropriate that industry partners should also focus on releasing true data and considering and consolidating the data to release the report, which will be a guiding principle for us to operate and invest.
You unwittingly referred to something, another big elephant in the room, reporting, possibly sustainability. We'll come back to that. Mr. Chaudhary, once again, I'm looking at you and getting slightly scared, because I think you bring a lot of wisdom in the room, clearly, visibly. But Paras bhai, many fear that in the next few years' time, as we open up, Bangladesh economy opens up, we have to, because of the graduation, we might lose the trade preferences. And already some of the trade negotiations with some of the larger economies are on the table. How, on that score, you as a large, long-time entrepreneur, how are you kind of looking at it?
Thank you. First of all, I must give a thanks to the organizer who have invited me over here, and allow me to speak something in front of our foreign guests and also our local people. As far as graduation is concerned, you know, I'm always little bit pessimistic. Number one, yeah, we cannot avoid it. The graduation has been done. Already we've been in it. We cannot avoid it. But I feel personally that we should have tried to defer it for another 3 years' time. The reason behind it is graduation is definitely a big challenge for Bangladesh. Whether we are ready for it, that is a big question. If you look for the time being, see that we are not in a good shape as far as our economy is concerned for the time being. It starts from the COVID period and move forward. Then the Ukraine supply chains has a problem, inflation is everywhere high. So, and then our political crisis has been there still. We are facing it. So our all indicator and our all the foundations, I think that is little bit shaking. You can see that even Bangladesh Bank is struggling, and I must give a thanks to our governor. He's trying his best, and our current account is a little bit positive now. So, but still, they are in a very big crisis, and they are trying to work out with all the banking sectors. Why I'm saying all those things? Because these are important to understand that the preparation. When you have a graduations, we are losing a lot of things. For example, our biggest dependency, Bangladesh, is RMG sector. Our contribution is about more than 82% of our total export. It means our other sector are not been ready yet, number one. And this sector, if it been getting under pressure, it will be indirectly affect our economy. Look, the Vietnam by 2027, there will be a zero tariff in the Europe. And if Bangladesh goes for a graduation by 29, we'll have our importer has to pay duty on us because we lost the GSPA. We are not yet started negotiating, in that respect, bilateral or FTA and things like that, but Vietnam already is on the process already. He's a duty-free access, he's a, not duty, I said that FTA, they have under FTA, so it's with zero duty. We'll have a dependency on Europe. We have a dependency with other countries also, Japan and India. Everywhere we're losing. Our borrowing part will be higher, the cost, the Bangladesh. So ultimately what would be happen? What would be our next? We are, in our other trades, we are not being self-sufficient yet.
Okay.
We are.
I'll come back to you, but just to underline, and I would invite the attention of also Dr. Zaidi Sattar in the room, because I would ask that at a later stage, we'll try to hear from you as well, from PRI, because what we understand is, or the lines are clear, that what has come from the Committee for Development Policy in UN, the pathway, Bangladesh is quite steadily on the pathway to graduation, but this would merit a separate conversation with government immediately. That's what I would like to underline, because the path looks very set. And also, how do we look at European Union in terms of GSP Plus? Because that is another conversation where with Brussels, where it has been.
See, these are
already.
not an easy. This is that with the interim government, it won't be work out. It has to be a political government will be needed. You have to understand very clearly.
No, I just want to underline that.
I say that we are not been ready. Even we start the process, there are a lot of things will be coming up. But with our present advisor, chief advisor, we can able to negotiate if he wishes, and if we can pursue it properly.
Okay.
To defer it. I said that we cannot avoid it, but we can defer it at least 3 years, because with these 3 years, we try to be prepare ourselves, our foundations,
Yeah.
things, to make our
hear you,
economy stronger.
I hear you fully, and the points are noted. May I just move on to Mr. Mahmood Hassan Khan, another industry, a long-time entrepreneur in the industry, who has seen the industry evolve and very steadily involved, where we would look at, as we speak this week, beginning from yesterday in Paris, the OECD has again started looking at, some of your friends are already in Paris, on the due diligence. We heard very clearly from Sayyida Rizwana Hassan, the ambassadors and others, about that there's not an option, we have to walk the path. Question would be, I know the tensions, the difficulties for most of you while you're looking at it, because it's been for over a decade. Question would be, how are you looking at the next level of sustainable production practices on the production floor across the value chain? How are you going to prepare, and what would be your messages also to other partners?
Thank you very much, Mr. Riaz. Actually, this sustainability and this automation, okay, and it is always challenging but achievable, okay, and we can achieve if depends on individuals and mostly on leadership. Leadership from the sector, at the same time leadership of individual entrepreneur or individual factories. I can give I can share my experience for my factory. Say, for example, almost 7 years back, I started using renewable energy, say solar panel. Initially, except myself, almost everybody in my organization thought this is a part of compliance or some sort of showcase. But later on, in our company, we almost nowadays now we are using 8 megawatt solar panel, and it makes worth. Now, each and every one who are in the management in terms of sustainability, they are very much confident. Yes, this is possible, and this is a part of the core business. So this is an example. So as you said, this is no more option. This has to be a part of integration of our business.
But if I may ask, what we continue to hear that the big factories, like each of you present on this side, the economics work for you to adopt these sustainable practices. But the ones which are mid-sized to smaller, they really struggle. Is that right? Or how they can cope?
This is a part of business. It is not only sustainability, but of existence of business profitability is always there is a challenge for small and medium. And also I can say it not necessarily just always big size of factory, they are doing the practice of sustainability. It is depends on mindset. Even I saw some mid-size factory, they are also doing. So it is a matter of mindset, it's a matter of leadership. So they are doing. And then it is depends on the buyers also, that to whom you are working for. So as you said that this is no more option, we do believe this is no more option, this is a part of our core business, and we have to move forward. So for example, initially we started with solar panel. Now we have to think about, we are working, not only think, we are working about the water consumption. This is STP, because previously STP was not in our regular business process. Nowadays, almost all the big factory and mid-size factory, they are working for setup STP. This is part of reducing water consumption or recycling of water. So recently, let me say, recently we have faces the challenges that the factory, because of its individual infrastructure, cannot set up STP, but new technology has come up so that even the infrastructure is not horizontal, even a vertical factory you can set up the STP. So to me, it is a matter of mindset and then leadership.
A very quick question. I mean, I'll come to you. You heard, I know. You heard the advisor saying very clearly, I think less than an hour back, about looking at water, energy, and chemical, the responsibility part of that. Would you take it as a challenge or opportunity?
Both. It is both. It's a challenge and opportunity. So for example, what she said, their government is going to impose tariff on water uses.
But that will, how would it reflect on your balance sheet, for example?
In terms of using solar energy or renewable energy, it is definitely impacting, positive impact in my balance sheet. It's no more a cost, as I said. But in terms of tariff, say, on water uses, it is going to be challenging at the beginning stage, because there is two different type of tariff. I think the people who are recycling water, there should not be tariff, they should get exemption. Okay. And then the people who are only not using the recycling, that there may have some tariff.
I'm purposefully tickling you or bringing this into attention, because those in the room, if you have solutions, if you think that you can stitch, because we are to prospect into future, I think that is that might be an exciting space where you can carve newer equations, newer production functions, and newer way of engagement. That's where you have the industry champions, leaders, and if you want to think that how you want to get into, you can catch up with them for later conversation. Mr. Salim, yes, I'm turning to you, Salim Rahman from Chile.
Before you ask me, actually, I just forgot to mention something, and we just spoke the other day. Baubhai, I think he just said, you talked about mid-size companies, how are they going to do sustainability? We just talked about it. I think it's got to be a community initiative. I'll give you an example. Let's say mid-size. Why can't they, and it's been talked about in multi-factors, that I'm talking about BGME itself. Why don't they set up?
What is the percentage of factories in BGME?
I just don't have the right numbers in my head. I just want to tell you the concept. The mid-size factory, who has 8 lines and etc. Why don't you put them in a complex and have a central ETP system? Let's put it. We just talked about it the other day, and that's because 8-line factories, don't ask him to make an investment of 7 crore on ETP. It's just not doable. So those are the initiative has to be done centrally, and it can happen. We have seen it in many places, and it can be done. I just wanted to jump in on that. Thank you.
Fantastic, fascinating. We can keep it with a marker for later conversation. But what I would like to turn to you is that when we look at the future, 2 things look like, and we had a conversation with Ms. Ashik Chaudhary, who has left, for the industry, for each of you, 2 things are going to be crucial in terms of defining your next level of competitiveness. One is the logistic efficiency, and the other is digitization. How do we bring in that into transformation? We know about very interesting things being under consideration, about Chittagong Port and etc. It's about entire logistics scenario. How would you look at that from your individual perspective, and then industry?
First of all, thank you so much, Riaz by making me part of this, and I also would like to thank Mustafiz for this. I think the question you just asked, I think Rakib Bhai has touched upon some of them on AI and machine learning. IoT, I'm not very, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it, because there are certain things we have learned. So if the new technology comes up, adaptation, a lot of us are capable of adapting. IoTs I'm not concerned about. But if you talk about AI and machine learning, one thing scares me quite a bit, and this thing, in a lot of seminars and the forum, they say that there is nothing an AI cannot do, a human can. So when we look at not only adaptation part of our business, or technology adaptation, or whatever, data crunching, big data and everything, you also got to consider the people, the training, etc. Because again, sooner or later, it's bound to happen. You know, there will be all our businesses are operation driven, physical operation driven. It will come less and less and less. That's a fact. There's no denial about it. We can deny about it. So how we before adaptation, how we comprehend, I am struggling. I am struggling to comprehend how am I going to. Everybody talks about big things, you know, artificial intelligence, ML, machine learning, etc. I am still in the process of comprehending, Then the adaptation part of it. Again, IoT is not going to be a problem. So, and I think Her Excellency mentioned in one of this thing, what you call the blockchain. I think he talked about traceability and visibility. So blockchain, it has to come to us in basically the fact of the thing is that from the field, from the producer to the store, the usage, again, adaptation of blockchain on the visibility, those needs to be done. Another challenge would be, and I would say any kind of automation or digitalization in the process of, let's say, when it comes to PD, product development, that we need to really adapt quick, because you have to understand our major market, even till today, it's Europe and US. We've always, I remember when I started with, with my father, lead time was what, 180 days, 90 days. Those are fairy tales. Now we are doing it at 30 days. Both of our target market are Europe and the States, so lead time is going to be a factor. And if we can adapt technologies when it comes to product development, let's say on sampling stages and all those, etc., etc., that we need to. That's one way to fight lead time. I have few things. I mean, I'm forgetting maybe, and
No problem.
one more. I just want to make another point, and this I think it's very vital. Fintech, how hard it's going to hit us. Again, we don't talk about it only when it starts happening in surrounding our friendly countries in India. Then we'll understand how it's going to affect our business. I believe AI and then fintech, it's going to be. Those are going to be game changers for us, and how we adapt to it, that's going to give us the leverage. I don't know if I made a mess out of my answers. Thank you.
No, you're absolutely right, but one thing I would like to leave with each of you on this side of the room is that government has adopted, it's been 1.5 years now, the logistic policy, but actualization of logistic policy, that's the reason I'm purposefully bring this to your attention, is going to determine not only your individual company's balance sheet and everything, but also the country's, I mean, macro level. I leave that to you because so that you can carry this beyond this conversation with BIDA in particular, and also once we have a longer term and political government in power, because that is going to be crucial. This could be also inviting questions from the floor, but later, Andrej. The last of our panelists, distinguished panelists, is Mr. Russell, who comes from another end of the spectrum. He represents the Bangladesh Textile Association as its president currently, but also someone who has been in the apparel industry for quite some time. If I may ask you, there's another conversation going on that we are perennially dependent, for all the right obvious reasons, on importation of cotton. And the sources, origin are known. That is one part of it. The other part is that the very increasing demand that we focus, build our capacities in synthetic materials. How are you looking from your perspective, as an individual perspective, as also from Bangladesh Textile Mill Association's perspective, into this space, sir?
Well, let me give you a background of what we do. We represent Bangladesh Textile Mill Association, and we represent an investment of $22 billion. And our import for cotton is, we are probably the second largest importer of cotton in the country. It's a mosquito bothering me. Anyhow, we are probably the second largest country importing cotton. And second question was
about the synthetic
man-made fiber, basically.
Man-made fibers, right?
Yes, we could not tap into that market. A single reason being, we don't have a good policy in place. I've had number of correspondence with the government. I wish the honorable advisor was here. For instance, the plastic bottle, you know, which you drink water, it could be converted into fiber, it could be converted into yarn, but we are not allowed to import those bottles. They are not waste bottles, they are actually raw material for us. So we are failing to convince our government. This is our bad luck. And our government is apparently too busy. I've had number of meetings with the number of advisors. All the meetings, you know, are half-heartedly done or, you know, cut off because they have another appointments, just like today also. This is a true disappointment, I believe. Anyhow, so going forward, synthetic fiber, you know, world market predominates 70% of this sector, and 30% is cotton. Out of this 70%, Bangladesh is not near any numbers. So I wish going forward we'll be able to convince the government, and we will share and give them ideas about bringing in good policies to import raw materials so that we can tap into that market. And hopefully, and we are already maintaining the ethical standard of the workers. You'd be happy to know that out of 10 green factories around the globe, I think 7 of them are in Bangladesh. And going forward, I think we are all gearing up for that. All my factories are compliant now. And my colleagues, they're all compliant now. And we are becoming compliant not by dictation, it is actually helping us. So we are beginning to realize that it is something that we need to do. And hopefully the country will benefit, the workers will benefit, the environment will be clean, and we are going forward and doing that. Thank you so much.
May I? Yeah.
If you allow,
Please,
because regarding what Russell Bhai said, is a policy, at the same time is a mindset, and then support from the buyers. Say, buyers' mindset also like that. So Bangladesh can do very good in the cotton products. Nowadays, their mindset is also changing, and we are also involved. I can share my experience. Day before yesterday, one of the former president of BTMA, he has taken initiative to produce synthetic filament yarn. We can import filament yarn, but if we can produce filament yarn here in Bangladesh, then it will reduce our lead time, and then we can diversify our product. So we, the entrepreneur, already in place to do producing synthetic or filament yarn from the raw material. Previously, there was a challenge in terms of tariff for raw material of producing filament yarn, like MEG or PTA. Recently, government has changed this tariff so that we can move forward. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to add on. The former minister for clothing, I had a meeting with him, and he gave us assurance to some of us. We had invested in plastic fiber. And he assured us that we'd be able to import waste plastic bottles to make fiber, but it never happened. Till today, we don't have a policy in place to import those bottles, either in bond or without bond. And if that happens, if this is how we actually behave, we are not actually helping the sector. So my urge to my pledge to the government would be that you actually put, government is busy with polythene, you know. Plastic has hundreds of varieties.
Yes, sir, but at the same time, I'm representing the government, I'm busy talking to you as well and hearing you loud and clear. I can only tell you that while I was walking the Honorable Advisor out, she told me that, so one of the points that I'll take back from this conversation to her is what you are underlining. Please rest assured on that. I would also request that please, if you later give a just plain piece of paper in terms of the specific. But it's very interesting what you're underlining, because there was also a press report that I would not name the country or countries, at least 2 countries I know for sure, I'm sure you'd know, where they are aggregating the plastic bottles, PET bottles as you say, and exporting to some countries, etc. So I think that aspect is also to be looked at. So what you are saying is essentially to look at industrialization, tariff, and import policies together seamlessly.
You see, converting waste into product is
Absolutely,
a new
sir.
trend, new business trend.
Waste to wealth.
Yes.
And I would invite Dr. Zaidi Satta, your kind attention, if you could help us to take this particular element to the right levels for later conversation.
Thank you.
On that note, we have limited time. We'd be opening for 10 minutes to the floor so that you have an opportunity to give your shout. Please but please, in 2 sentences, you have to ask. Others will have to cut you off. Please take your time to raise your voice, ask questions. Anyone specifically or in general, please feel free. Otherwise, there's an enormous amount of elements that has already come on surface in course of the conversations. We can actually carry on with each of you, but still, let's, yes, please. Andre, Ambassador Andre from the Netherlands. একটু দ্রুত হাঁটতে হবে.
Apologies for taking the floor again,
No
because
apologies,
I
please.
had my time already, but one of you referred to the possibility
Slightly louder.
of solar panels on the roof of garment industry complexes, and that is exactly one of the aims of one of our companies. And I'm not sure whether it is one out of these 18 we have in this room. Otherwise, it's company number 19, because I met with such a company just a couple of weeks ago. So it's on our agenda, and I hope we can cooperate in this matter because it's another way to move forward into the right direction. Thank you.
Sure, sir. I can only add that the solar PV cell costing has come down to 3 cents, about to go to 1 cent. I only wonder when it would go zero. Anyway, there's another hand. Someone can please take the microphone and see. Sir, we'll come to you, sir, obviously. Please.
Thank you. I'm Kari Sultana. I came from different platform. I'm doing jute
Please just raise your question.
I want to know, jute is a sustainable product. I'm doing jute apparel, dress or anything. So I want to say, in Bangladesh, what is the future?
Okay. Point noted. I want to come back to you with something fascinating. This weekend, Saturday, Ambassador of Uruguay traveled to Dhaka. You'd be shocked what he shared and what came out. Some of the industry friends were there, Mr. Asif Ibrahim and others. Uruguayan wool is better than Australian wool, number one. Some of your friends, yes, some of your friends are already working on that to mix that Uruguay wool with denim to create another synthesized, or what you would say, fiber, and it's working positively for the balance sheet. I think I want to bring that. There is someone from Sweden present in the room who is doing a similar thing with jute and cotton blend and experimenting, but possibly going into industrial use. I want to keep that in abeyance. Dr. Zaidi Sattar, if I may come to you. Onake microphone ta deben. Edike. Dr. Zaidi Sattar from the Policy Research Institute.
Thank you very much. I think I just need a little bit of clarification to the point raised by Mr. Anwar Alam Parvez on the issue of graduation from out of LDC. Now, there's a very simple proposition here, very simple thing. Joining the LDC group is a voluntary proposition. Bangladesh joined the LDC group in 1975. If Bangladesh didn't decide not to join the LDC group, there would be no problem. By joining the LDC group, Bangladesh was the beneficiary of all the international support measures as an LDC. That is part of the rules-based trade regime. We are also part of the UN system. So under the UN system, Bangladesh is a member of the LDC group. Now, graduation from LDC is not a voluntary issue. It's an assessment by the Committee on Development Policy, CDP, of the UN. And once an economy meets those 3 criteria for graduation, the UN CDP recommends to the UN General Assembly. UN General Assembly then approves it. In the case of Bangladesh, they have already approved it. Now, Bangladesh can make an argument, which Mr. Parvez is trying to suggest, that there has been disruption, and so we need to get some more time. So that probably is up to the General Assembly, but I think it's going to be very difficult.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we'll keep it in abeyance for now, because that may take almost a day if you're going to discussion. But I think if you look at 2040, please tell us what exciting thing, completely atrocious even if you think that, or something to be debated, feel free to raise your voice on that, please.
Thank you so much. We have seen so many products and services as an initiative towards the sustainability goal. Now, my question is, from the public, private, or anyone, if we are trying to put that initiative under one umbrella and showcase to the world that Bangladesh is coming up with these are the initiatives. Doesn't matter if the initiative is small or is very large in the scale. So I myself is struggling to get this kind of information under one umbrella. What is your point of view?
We'll take it as an observation, because we'll come back to that at a late stage. Anyone else? We'll aggregate the questions and observations, then we'll come to this side.
I have just one question, that why we want to import use plastic from outside? Why not we are utilizing our own plastics, the uses one?
Point noted. Point noted. Anyone else?
Good morning. My name is Qazi Amit Imran from WaterAid Bangladesh. So my question is which complements my previous person's question, that many of the organizations, meaning private sectors, have taken steps to recycle plastics. So if those plastics can be used by BTME and by the textile sector, then why can they actually speak, within bilaterally, or is it a completely policy issue that binds them from not using it?
Point noted. Thank you. Any of the Dutch friends in the room? Do you feel sufficiently excited, or you have something else to add to what you heard? Remember, we are to prospect into future, 15 years horizon, if not more, or beyond. That's the time when Bangladesh would not only graduate, I would take it, you may disagree, but at the same time, we'd go into completely different era where we have to assume newer roles, responsibilities, due diligence is just one part. There will be newer ones which are coming, we can smell in the horizon. Consumers' behavior also changing, which we are only seeing possibly 5-10 years might be completely far more challenging, if not difficult. Any other points? If not, then we'll close it. Fair enough. Please, sir.
Yes, the question about our using our own plastic. Yes, we are doing that. In America, per capita plastic consumption is 250 kg. Whereas we don't even have a number. It's probably less than 2%. So we don't have adequate quantity to convert plastic into fiber. We are import dependent. And why should we not import, or why should we import? Because if we import, we can buy it as probably $300 per ton. Whereas if we buy resin, which is the next level, you're looking at $1,000. So the value addition is retained in country other than Bangladesh. We're losing that money, number one. We're losing that job also. So our government don't understand that this is a loss that we're incurring years together. This is something we can retain in the country. So I have I have it documented, I have written to the government, especially the environment. I can give you a copy. And we're trying to convince the government. Our government is very slow, India is very fast, let's put it this way. Thank you.
On top of it, I just would like to add, I'm also the president of Bangladesh Chamber of Industry. By virtue of the positions, I got an opportunity to know. You'll be surprised, there are 20 big plastic recycle plant in Bangladesh and 200 medium size. These 20 biggest one, they said that they don't get enough raw material. 50% of the production is, they can't do it because of the raw material of the plastic. So if you wanted to use it, recycle yarn, or even these other things, I think that will be needed very much. And besides that, I wanted to say one more thing to the audience. We talk about the sustainability. And now we come up with the AI and this and that. See, Bangladesh, for sustainability, if you talk about the customer is coming in this country, is because they are getting a goods in a low price product. And we have enough working force. They are very quick learner. And the entrepreneurs are very aggressive. They are spender. So as a result, they invest the money with the latest machine, latest technology, and the workers they are working, they are a quick learner, so they picked up, and our production is getting every day improving and improving. The technology side, if you look at, even the sustainability side, if you look at, I think that we are one of the fastest growing entrepreneur in Bangladesh who are set up the lead industry event, which is a very expensive setup. You know, all those things we are doing. We are going even a ETP, the latest ETP we are setting up in Bangladesh. We don't need the pressure from anywhere. We ourselves, we take it because we know the customer needs all those things. when it says sustainability, you know, we talk about the global warming, and also we have to be address the generations, Generation Z and Millennium. Their target is a warming, sustainable, and all those things. We talk sustainability, but again, we talk about man-made fiber. Isn't it contradictory?
Yeah.
No, why I said it? Because, you see, one of the lady was saying that we have a jute and we can use this jute on a fabrics. Yes, we should have encouraged those kind of things. We should tell to the customers that I think that we should focus. I mean, definitely we will follow the market requirement, market demand, customer demand. But if we talk about the sustainability, the environment,
right,
then we should have concentrate not man-made fiber.
Okay. Professor,
we have a natural things,
I'm sorry
the rock
that I have to
jute and all these things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I took too much time. I think I bothered him, but I think that this message should carry by our customers or by our guests who are here. You know, when you talk about sustainability, we should not be contradictory. Bangladesh is discharging only 0.28 micron, but we are the victim of the circumstances.
We hear you fully.
Anyway,
sure.
Thank you.
No, thank you. One element I want to bring to rest of you, I think there is also its open knowledge that if Bangladesh can aggregate the used cotton, I mean what we call jute, that can add up to or replace 15%, estimated to be 15% of the fresh importation of cotton. That would add to the circularity menu, etc. But I think anyone can reflect on that, because we have to look at the future. What can we do?
Okay, I'll take that and I'll jump into jute again. You see, buyers are actually willing to pay you more if you're converting waste into a product. Nowadays, Walmart has a policy. If you're buying a new denim, you can throw away your old denim and they will reuse it. But we don't have a policy in place to import those denim and convert into fiber again. No, that's another debate. But instead of throwing it away, you can reuse it. You can make fiber again, you can make denim again.
No, point noted, please.
And coming back to jute, jute is something very interesting. From seed to fiber, everything is yours. The almighty green dollar is yours. Whereas RMG, not all of it is yours. Your cotton is not yours. Yarn, at times, we have imported $2.7 billion worth of yarn from India last year alone. So that's not ours. What we do value addition. We create some jobs. But jute is very interesting. Everything is yours. But we don't have a good policy to encourage this sector. This sector is declining by the day, and India is taking our market.
Yes, I can only add to what you're saying is that good part of raw jute goes to Europe, including Brazil and China. But what came out much to our surprise is that someone came up all the way to Faridpur from Sweden and set up something on blending plastic and jute and doing fabulous business. Jute is landing up with Boeing and BMW, going to industrial use and etc. I'll come to last minute with each of you, starting with Mr. Salim Rahman. Your final take, please. Based on what you heard, I mean, feel free to add any other.
Well, I mean, I can relate everybody is saying, because, you know, our experience are saying, you know, he's talking about, let's say, recycled bottle. You know, we're not.
Yeah. Can I ask you some very
specific?
Sure,
please.
One of the challenges is that I think you said it about society, people. Automation, technology, everything is maybe putting them at risk. But then due diligence would also have to factor in people. Can we keep or push people out? That's a bigger question. How do you think that the workforce that you have, how can you reskill them, take to the next level so that we do not have societal damage, for example, in the next 10, 15 or 20 years?
Well, if Europe and America hasn't figured it out, don't ask me. I mean, that's even they're trying to figure out what's going to happen with AI. But again, when it comes to IoTs, any kind of this thing, I mean, all of us will be able to tell you our adaptation capability is enormous. Only thing, as I said, I couldn't comprehend myself what's going to happen with AI. I'm not scared of it, but, you know, let them figure it out, then we'll come to it. But going back to, I just want to make a final point. I think our chief speaker has mentioned that, and I think we always talk about that, the narrative. I mean, a lot of time it's asked, producing country, cheap producing country, or cheap labor. That narrative has to change. I don't know how, but if I ask Chat GPT, it'll give you all the answers we talk about, renewable, etc., workforce, you know, all we are talking about logistics. But then, who has skin in the game, his answer is, well, I have been doing everything. We may disagree with the level or achievement. I have been doing this for 15 years. What happened? He just mentioned, I mean, some of them it comes up. What happened? I've joined the industry 1997 after my father. In my lifetime, I have not seen an FOB going up. It hurts me more when I walk into a store. If I look at, let's say if I'm looking at a product, let's say tabletop product, let's say polo shirts. From distance, you see red, white, black, blue, and green, all right? Closer observation, you'll see country of origin. And the retail price, let's say $20. You know, we know that. I can guarantee, because I know so, the FOB is not the same. Why the FOB is not the same from Sri Lanka and Bangladesh? Let's answer that. I'm again not saying that. So when you ask about human, again, IoT, I'm not concerned about it. I think technology has always played a role. I just don't have an answer yet. No, but again, I am looking for that challenge.
Because looking into the future, you know, we are not supposed to, or we can't have all the answers, frankly.
Exactly.
But so that's the beauty of it.
But again, I take confidence from what we have learned so far, you know, any kind of automations or anything. I mean, if I'm looking at absolutely down the level, they don't have afraid of it. Just think about it. I mean, a person who does not know to operate anything, even does not have a signing skill, he's operating in WhatsApp or Facebook, etc. So digital footprint is there. So I mean, we are using that kind of thing. So on technology front. So I'm not afraid of it, but AI, I don't have an answer for it, honestly.
Mr. Mahmood Hassan Khan.
I'd like to answer your previous question. That, as you said, the 15% of waste fabric, actually, that is called
cotton.
jute, not J-U-T-E. That is J-H-U-T-E, jute. So practically 15% is not possible, but we can do at least 5 to 8% because of color. Because mostly white and black color we can use, but other color very difficult to use because of the concept from the buyers. Because you know there is a contradiction. They are looking for recycled fiber at the rate of 20% or more than that, but theoretically more than 20% is not possible because of the strength of the fiber and the fabric. So this is contradict. At the same time, they are looking for recycled fiber, but the quality they are looking for virgin fiber. So these have to change. They have to accept some sort of deviation in terms of quality. Then it will be a practical situation to use this recycled fiber.
Since this discussion is being live streamed, and those present in the room, particularly those who are very attached to circularity, please take note of what he is saying. Last, Ms. Abdullah Rakib, listening to all that, you have great advantage. You can add to whatever are sort of left out, or you can add to a top of all that has been said. What would be your take in terms of your readiness, industry's readiness?
So, I mean, if I see the topic, it's about the 2040 roadmap. And I think we have a lot of challenges. And even if we see the geopolitical shift, yesterday we was listening to the chief economist of HSBC, Frederick Newman. He was mentioning that the American government, the new policies can actually escalate the inflation and reduce purchase capacity, and that can actually make it more volatile. At the same time, they say that they will have unemployment. So having one of the major market, USA, if that is the situation going to be for next 5 to 10 years, that's going to also be a vulnerable situation for us. So there are many disruptive things into international and national situation. We have challenges with our policies, whereby I think you can understand from each of these panel speaker that the partnership between the government to understand, to have the better business acumenship and have discussion going, have a policy dialogue to have the better policies to make it more encouraging for the investment. Talk about FDI or talk about local investors, you have to give them the security of power, you have to give them the security of having an ROI for their labor cost and cost of production at large. So I think, having said that, a lot of second generation or us are kind of confused that what should you do at this junction. But I can see the potentiality is enormous. The man-made fiber, even though my fellow speakers say that man-made fiber is it's actually more environment friendly. I can separately discuss with him, but our opportunity to grow in man-made fiber is enormous. And the technology, China is actually giving up this industry eventually because of their many reasons, because they're growing in different sectors. They're like hitting the hit record for the automobile sellings. So having textile shipping up, spreading out of China, that's an opportunity. And having man-made fiber and all those spores products and activewear products and athleisure product, those are the segments what we should grow. And I think there are challenges. The government have to come up with policies, and government have to invest into have a proper research to understand us, not to misunderstand. Because at this point of time, government feel that we are taking a lot of things from them and we do not give back. Let's sit down and calculate how much we give back and how much we can still give back next 20 years. The potentiality is there. You have to invest on us to take back. Thank you.
In bringing it closer to the, time is over. Bringing closer to this conversation, as I said, it was essential to spark, bring out the gaps, bring out your challenges, bring out where you might see the inconsistencies, and also then prospect into the future. Absolutely, prospecting in the future is increasingly getting very difficult. Disruptions are all around. Technology is just one of it, not simply AI, but automation, machine, absolutely. But there are also solutions. Very difficult to think, and at the end, where people, not simply the customers, consumers, but our people, the workforce, which featured not only in Bangladesh, but across vast part of Asia, that's an open question. And I'm particularly flagging this, not only the advocates, entrepreneurs, innovators present here or beyond this room, that this has to be a continuing conversation. That's also we're trying to connect to Paris, Brussels, and beyond. Without attempting any bit of summary, I think what we will conclude is that it is a shared enterprise. Dr. Rizwan Hassan said it emphatically. So if that is the case, then we need to bring it much coherent, clearer from industry association, not only BTMA, BGMA, but beyond to the out there in the public. It's also about narrative setting. I dare make something that what could be the really attractive narrative. I would not name a country, but and there's a country where said some of your peers who stand up and said garments without guilt, and I said that how do you negotiate? They said we don't negotiate with price, we negotiate on values. Question issues that can we turn that value-based negotiation to our advantage, meaning to your advantage, because I'm not in the production, by the way. On that note, let's keep this as an open conversation. Some of these absolutely we'll take to parts of government where we can with some of your assistance. And on that note, thank to everyone of each of the distinguished panelists. Please offer a round of applause to them because you may not realize, but they have brought out a lot of things in terms on the table. Thank you.